All right, so we're about a month into the MLB season. There's a lot of surprise teams still out there, still up at the top of the standings. In the MLB the last 5 years, it hasn't been like that. There's been a lot of usually couple 100-win teams that dominate, especially the Astros and Yankees in the AL. And then there's been a lot of 100-loss teams too recently. It looks like it's not going to be that way this year, at least so far. We're only a month in, but that's got us describing a couple teams who aren't usually towards the top, but are on the top, kind of on the bubble. We got 5 teams. Are they a contender or are they a pretender? We're going to kind of go round table. So let's start with the Baltimore Orioles. They are 19-9. They had a pretty good year last year. Obviously, did not make the playoffs, and they are starting very strong this year. Jake, I'll go to you first. Contender or pretender?
Oh, obviously a contender. They have a strong batting. They have a strong batter, and his name is Adley Rutschman. Um, Adley, I believe, has the experience and the. I believe Adley has the potential to finish this year with 35 or even 40 homers. I think Adley Rutschman is very good. And then we go to the pitching side. They got Grayson Rodriguez, maybe the top pitching prospect in minor league baseball the past couple of years. I think he will lead the Orioles to the promised land, and I think Adley Rutschman will lead the Orioles to the promised land. Jordan, what do you think?
I've got the Orioles as contenders. I liked them last year, and there's no reason not to like them this year. I mean, you mentioned Adley Rutschman. That guy, he's going to be a star. He's going to be a star one day. And
So did not mention Gunnar Henderson, by the way. Gunnar Henderson will help with that offense. Yeah, that
Yeah.
offense has the potential to be scary.
it
Yeah, so I
does.
think in our preseason predictions, I had the Orioles in least I think I had them third, which in the AL East and third is like first in the AL Central, by the way. So but anyways, I think based on the points you guys have raised, they've been rebuilding a long time. They're loaded with prospects, finally starting to come up in the MLB. Adley Rutschman was obviously a great #1 overall pick a few years ago, and it's showing. I think they're going to make some moves at the deadline too. I think this year they see, hey, we can contend. We're not
Oh
just
yeah,
like we're not
they're gonna
just
be
the feel good.
biased.
We're not
They'll
just
definitely.
the we're not just the feel good story. We're gonna contend. We're gonna go punch the other AL East teams in the mouth. So I think they will. Let's move to the AL West. We got the Texas Rangers who have spent a lot of money. At 17-11, they're currently first place, barely in the AL West. Jake, contender or pretender?
Yeah, I mean, this one is hard. I think, honestly, I'm gonna label the Rangers as the pretenders. I think they spent a lot of money to get Jacob deGrom in the offseason. And even while I think deGrom was a great offseason move, obviously the best pitcher in baseball, um,
When healthy.
I don't think the Rangers have enough firepower to really sustain this 17-11 start, So I think the Rangers are pretenders.
Jordan.
I'm gonna go with pretenders too. The whole Jacob DeGrom thing, I'm not sure that what Jake mentioned. Um, he did bring up the fact that he's the best pitcher in baseball when healthy. So I'll give you that. Also, you're in the same division as the Astros and Mariners. I don't know if you got to think both Houston and Seattle are going to get hot at some point.
Yeah. I don't know if Seattle's going to get hot at this point. They've been struggling really bad. And obviously they're still loaded. You still got Julio Rodriguez and all that.
Yeah,
They
you never can count out the possibility of Julio Rodriguez going on a streak. So
Right. Definitely. Definitely. But I don't know if Seattle as a team's the huge threat to come back. Maybe they are. We'll see. Houston, though, you still have to watch out. They're still it's extremely loaded with depth. I'm gonna agree with you guys on this one too. I think the Rangers are a pretender. I think they're a good team. They will finish around 500, maybe get a wild card spot. But I think at some point they're the team. They've thrown a lot of money. They got Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon, obviously Jacob DeGrom, like you guys mentioned, which will help them a lot. But in terms of like being a fringe playoff team, that's about the ceiling I see them. So I'm going to label them a pretender too. Let's shift over a little bit to the NL. We got Jake's favorite team, who have surprisingly done very well. The Miami Marlins are at 16-13 and third in the NL East, contender or pretender.
Obviously going with my favorite team, but that's not the reason. We're completely unbiased here at PWTB, but I'm still gonna label the Miami Marlins as a contender. And some facts to back it up. Jazz Chisholm is having a great start to the year. Jesus Sanchez, I think, is finally coming around. I think he's finally figuring out how to. I think he's hitting the ball hard. They got Soler, obviously Garcia, who just went on the IL. Obviously, he'll come back and he'll be, you know, he won't hit 300 or anything. We don't pay these guys to hit 300. We pay these guys to hit the ball hard. And I think that's what Soler has been doing. And I think that's what Garcia will start to do when he comes back. Gary Hampson was a great offseason move. AJ Puck was a great offseason move. You also got Sandy Alcantara, who's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think maybe you can make the case for top five. I'm gonna label them as a contender. Wild card spot though. They're not gonna win the NL East with the Atlanta Braves still up there. They're not gonna win the NL East. What do you think?
I'm going to label the Marlins as pretenders, and
Knew
it
that was coming.
it kind of pains me to do that because you're in it. Because you also got to look at who else is in the division: the Braves, Mets, and Phillies.
And Nationals. Can't forget the Nationals.
The Nationals.
Even though the Nationals are back, you still can't forget the Nationals.
No, you could forget them, but yeah.
But but the thing about the Marlins is I don't know if offensively, but outside of Luis Ariz, I don't know if they're going to have enough offensively. I don't.
I actually agree 100% with Jordan. I think I'm going to label them as pretenders, and it does pain me to say that too, because the Marlins have been making great moves. I love the Luis Ariz move. I think that was a great move. They've been farming pitching prospects, but they're 16-13. They've played well against their division so far. Obviously, last week with the Braves wasn't so great, but they did get one win with that, and they played very well, but I don't even think it has to do with the division. I think they could beat out Philadelphia. I think they could take some games from the New York Mets. My thing with the Marlins, though, is the lineup, just like Jordan said, is eventually you're going to have to get a little deeper there. And it's got to come from, Sandy Alcantara, Jake mentioned, Sandy Alcantara is kind of struggling out of the gate a little bit this year. Now, we'll see if that sticks, but they need their stars aligned. I do say a pretender, but they're trending in the right direction. I'll be nice since we got a Marlins fan here, but that is what I truly believe. So next up, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh is 20-9, probably the biggest surprise of the season so far. Leading the way in the NL Central. Jake, contender, pretender.
I don't have a lot of background for this one, but I'm gonna label the Pirates as a contender. They got maybe. I've heard this on Twitter. I don't necessarily agree with it, but maybe the best third baseman in baseball would keep Brian Hayes. They got Ryan Reynolds as well. O'Neal Cruz, unfortunately, he's out for a little while. But I think when he comes back, if he comes back before the end of the season, I think he's really going to help the Pittsburgh Pirates in that maybe postseason run right there. So I'm gonna label the Pirates as a contender right now. Jordan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with contender. And like Jake, I don't have a lot of background on the Pirates, actually. But you can kind of look at the division they play in. The Cubs aren't that great. The Reds aren't that great. The Brewers are off to a good start, but I don't know.
Talking about the Brewers, they have one of the best pitchers in baseball too, in Corbin Burns. I just wanted to say that real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And then with the Cardinals, even though they always seem to find a way, I don't see it happening this year for them.
I'm mad at the Cardinals because they optioned Jordan Walker down to AAA, so I'm mad at the Cardinals right now.
Yeah, come on. His coach came on our show. Come on. You gotta have him on.
Come on.
I'm gonna disagree with the field. I got them as pretenders. Now you can't dispute 20-9. That's a very good start. And Jordan also raised some good points about their division too, is their division is weak. But I think what was mentioned with Corbin Burns and the Brewers. I think they're eventually going to take over. They've got enough firepower in that offense. I don't think the Cardinals are coming up this year too. They did a huge soar last year. I don't think that's happening. They look very bad right now, and I think it's going to come down to Milwaukee. They'll take it over. Now the Pirates still can contend because it's the NL Central. But I'm gonna label them as pretenders. And likewise, I don't know too much about their roster, which isn't a good thing, by the way. If you're talking about contenders. But maybe we'll be proven wrong. I'm gonna label them as pretenders. The last one we got is the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are technically tied for first place, I think, in the NL West at 16-13. Contender, pretender, Jake.
Ooh, I love this Arizona Diamondbacks team. I cannot get enough of this Arizona Diamondbacks team. I have to go contender here. I think they have enough firepower in their offense. We're talking about, all five of these teams we have brought up one of the best pitchers in baseball. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, that is Zach Gallen. So I think they got enough firepower in their offense to essentially back up Zach Gallen. I think, getting outstanding rookie in Coleman Carroll. They got Kiel Marquez. I'm gonna label the Diamondbacks as a contender. Jordan, what do you think?
I'm kind of hesitant on this one. The Diamondbacks, fun fact, were my surprise team in the National League in the preseason. But I agree with the point Jacob made about Zach Gallen. He has turned into one of the best pitchers in baseball. Now, obviously, you can't clone Zach Gallen 5 times and have a pitch every night.
Right.
You still have to worry about the Dodgers and Padres in the NL West. But for right now, I'm gonna go with contender.
I'll agree with the field. I'm going to go contender. Kind of like what I was talking with Sandy. Like if Sandy gets hot, he's going to be the Marlins' big head. Well, Zach Gallen is pitching 11 to 12 strikeouts a night. He's pitching great so far for the Diamondbacks. And you can't pitch him every single night. That is true. But in the regular season, that matters so much. In the playoffs, you got to have a little more. But in the regular season, to have that main guy, oh yeah, we got Gallen. We're good that day. That is so huge. And it's not like they don't have a lineup like Jake described. They've got a great lineup with young up-and-comers. I'm going to label contender, but cautiously contender because of, like they said, the NL West it hasn't picked up yet, but obviously I think the Dodgers are going to pick up. The Padres seem way too talented to stay where they're at. So the NL West is going to pick up. They might not be competing against them. They might be competing for a wild card. I'm going to I keep saying optimistically, cautiously list them as a contender.
Yeah, and can I just mention, talking about Zach Gallen, it honestly hurt me as a Marlins fan to get rid of Zach Gallen.
Yeah,
but
you guys have said that about a lot of
trades.
trades.
Jr., so I'm all right with that.
Yeah, you guys have said that about a lot. You guys have said that about a lot of trades. I'm sorry we got rid of that guy.